My name is Kristi Link Fernholz. I am a fiscal year 2025 recipient of a Creative Individuals Grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board. This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. The body of work I've created with this grant is called Before Our Time. I tried a few new things in this body of work, working larger photo encaustics, using watercolor on the photographs, developing my techniques with oil pastels, and mixing my own encaustic medium. Encaustic is an ancient painting technique using heated beeswax mixed with damar resin. It is melted and applied to a surface, often wood. The wax is fused with heat to create layered artworks. I've fallen in love with using encaustics on my photographs for the last few years. It is a tactile way to add to each photograph so that I can show what I see. I start my process with looking through photos. I'll print out small proofs and experiment until I get something I like. Once I see what works, I'll print a museum quality print. I print on Epson watercolor paper, which has a thicker, rich surface using my Epson SureColor P900 printer with archival inks. I cut it and glue it to a board. If I want to use any watercolor or ink, I'll add it to the raw image before any wax is added. This image is called Stormy Sky over the South 80. The image is actually from 2014. I rediscovered it last year. I'm doing it on a 12 by 18 pine panel, which to date is the largest size I've done with photo encaustic. I did not use watercolor on this image, so after it was glued to the board, I added wax. After the encaustic medium melted, I started with a larger brush to cover the entire photo with the wax. I make sure to get the edges of the paper. Melting the wax on an image this size takes a while. Eventually it heats up and I tilt the board slightly so the excess wax can drip off. I like to have a thin coat over the photograph. Once the wax is cooled, I can add oil pastels. I've already experimented on a smaller version, so I use that as my reference. I add the oil pastels where I want and then use the heat gun to fuse them. The heat melts the pigment into the wax. The flow can be unpredictable, so I try to use that in my favor. For the Before Our Time show, I used the encaustic process with watercolor, ink, and oil pastel to reveal what I saw in each photo. I wanted to uncover the rocks in the prairie that were hidden beneath the scrubby trees or prairie grasses. I wanted to make the snow on the rocks bold and a little abstract. This work explores something that's always there, but might get a little overlooked. The design of the rocks beneath the prairie grasses, the edges of the trees and plants, the patterns and connections between sky and land. This work explores the natural world with all that has been there long before me and all that will be there long after. As I created this work, I asked, what is our foundation? Are we shaped by the land where we live? Is it our genetics? Or are we rooted to the world through deep connections in our bodies? I thought a lot about mortality, what is left behind, and how many leave us before their time. This series has been an act of risk and growth. I tried new approaches and allowed myself to play and experiment. Some pieces return to a more traditional photo encaustic process, while others are pushed further through watercolor, ink, and oil pastel. Like life itself, the work continues to evolve. I'm grateful to the Minnesota State Arts Board for this opportunity. You can find my work at klfstudio.com.